While we, the philosophers, are still arguing as to whether the world even exists, the natural world is collapsing around us, and we are responsible for what happens in the future. The beginning of our solar system was a cloud of gas and dust, which by way of gravitation was compressed until it finally collapsed, causing a thermonuclear ignition. This resulted in the birth of our Sun. The beginning of our solar system was established. The young Earth was turbulent. At the center was a seething core of magma, while the surface was subject to the discharging of electrified air. Great bodies of water poured into the oceans. However, calmness returned. During the course of time in the Earth's history, a thin atmosphere was formed. This originally would not have permitted any life to exist. Regardless of this, pioneer single-cell organisms took advantage of the substances and gases released by the indigenous oceans, so that during the course of evolution, even settlement on the mainland became possible. This era of geology on our planet was accompanied and implemented by evolution. The biological development that happened over time created changes in the hereditary characteristics of populations, leading to the emergence of new species. Nothing is permanent in evolution. Everything is subject to constant change. Life adapts to its surroundings. Each rung of this ladder is more complex than the preceding one. This chain of causation takes a structured directional course, so in each of the higher stages of evolution, a mixture of the previous forms are existent. Atoms join to form molecules, molecules to single-cell life forms. Single-cell forms in turn create multi-cell life forms until finally complex species are created. Even today, scientists are continually discovering new forms of life and communities where no life should actually exist. Conditions do not exist within evolution, only alterations. Everything is subject to a constant forward motion that will never end. Life without water would not have been possible then, just as today it still provides the foundation for all forms of life. Sun rays lit up Pangaea, the primal continent. More than 135 million years ago, Pangaea split into two. Over the ensuing millions of years, the continents drifted further and further apart until they reached the positions they are in today. Chapter 1. Terra Incognita. Jellyfish. These fragile creatures, with neither a skeleton nor a supporting structure, appear to be translucent when swimming in open water. They let themselves drift with the ocean's currents, appearing to the observers as engraved sculptures of enchanting beauty. The glass-like bodies of jellyfish serve as protection against predators when gliding through the wide open oceans, because here, escape is out of the question. The upper levels of the oceans, flooded by light, provide the predators with a clear view of their prey. Survival is only possible with a wide range of defense strategies. Jellyfish try to escape from their hunter's teeth by way of their disembodied translucency, but the price is high. This translucency increases their vulnerability. When the first light of day illuminates the coral reefs, the colors and patterns of the corals are shown to their best advantage. In the waves, a sea slug is snoozing on a soft coral. It doesn't need a shell for protection. Its defensive system of poison and a conspicuous shape warns off would-be enemies. This mosaic of life, when more carefully examined, reveals great blocks upon which coral is growing, harmonizing with each other in deep trenches and small caves. Cabbage corals, luminous mushroom corals, and whip corals, moving backwards and forwards in the ocean's currents, are to be seen growing on a rocky ledge. These rocky ledges and niches offer all kinds of protection, while the clownfish, swimming placidly among poisonous tentacles, lives a symbiotic life with the anemones. Amidst this garden of stone, a never-ending war prevails. The danger of being eaten is omnipresent. Thus began an evolutionary arms race between the opposing camps. Some tried to escape from their predators by means of shells, others with poison or optical illusions. Life in this underwater paradise is a continual fight for survival, though the chances are equally distributed. The hawksbill turtle, drifting with the sea's currents, is for many observers the most elegant swimmer of the oceans. Its yellow patterns seem almost unreal in the rays of the sun. In the course of gentle movements, the turtle searches for suitable pasture grounds where, free of any haste, it can satisfy its hunger. Sharks. They are among the oldest vertebrates, with an anatomy that has remained virtually unchanged for 500 million years. Like a torpedo, the shark shoots towards its prey in order to rip off a huge chunk of meat. In this last stage of attack, however, the shark falls back on the most remarkable thing that evolution has created: the Lorenzinian ampullae. They consist of billions of minute canals filled with a gelatinous-like substance. The sensory cells contained therein are able to detect electronic charges. The shark depends exclusively on these sensors in the last meters of its attack. These hunters stand at the top of the food chain, but they also have enemies. The human being is about to terminate this unique creature. 71 species of sharks are threatened with extinction. While you are watching this scene, 186 sharks will have died worldwide. Approximately 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. The depths of the oceans remain one of the least explored regions of our world. In spite of all the technical sophistications available today, the time which we can spend in the sea is only of a short duration. The world underwater is another world, a silent world, still belonging to the great adventures of our time. Consequently, The time-old magical word, terra incognita, has lost none of its importance. An infinite variety of life has developed where the pounding waves of the oceans gnaw on the continent's coasts. From gradually rising beaches up to steep cliffs. This is where the elements fight each other, where overnight new land is created, or old land disappears forever. When flying over Angel Falls at more than 900 meters, the highest falls in the world, one becomes aware of the power of nature. The falls owe their name to Jim Angel, an American bush pilot, who in 1935 felt this exact power when he landed his plane on the 3,000-meter high Oantepui and could not restart the engine. Only with the help of a compass was he able to find his way back to civilization. In the border triangle of Venezuela, Guyana and Brazil emerged the Table Mountains. They resemble an invincible bastion rising above the green roof of the rainforests. Clouds dance around the summits, sculptured from stone over thousands of years and created solely by the power of water. The view of the perpendicular rock faces rising and vanishing in the clouds is stunning. Cascades of water tumble down into the seemingly endless depths where they unite and form rivers. Only when the weather permits does nature show us an insight of this fascinating natural spectacle. Everywhere, masses of water are falling down the steep rock faces. The threatening, foaming spray and the thundering water finally draw our attention to this awe-inspiring wonder. Through the light refractions, constant small and large rainbows can be seen, appearing to dance harmoniously in the light of a curtain of water. The thunderous sound of the rivers can be heard kilometers away. Only the hardest stones, such as basalt or lava, is able to withstand the falling masses of water over a period of thousands of years. It is the power of millions of liters of water with an ungovernable power falling from the rugged cliffs. The river is curling through the rainforest like a gigantic python. When following the tracks of Alexander Humboldt along rivers in South America, you experience an enchanting wilderness. The journey carried onwards by the currents has not yet reached its destination. The rainforest, beginning at the riverbanks, under its evergreen roof, is the habitat for 40 to 60% of all life forms on Earth. Slender plants wait patiently until space becomes available for them. Another inhabitant of this ecosystem is the iguana. Its survival strategy is camouflage. Its scaly skin has adapted perfectly to the primeval forest. In the green of the jungle, they appear to our eyes as small dabs of paint. Butterflies, jesters of the air. In the tropics, beside the nectar of plants, their diet is first and foremost made up of rotting fruit, tree sap, and even the blood of other animals. Chapter 2. Life in Small Format. From gentle foothills to mighty summits, mountains produce distinctive features around our planet. They are formed by way of immense forces within the Earth's core and are continuously being changed by outside influences. Because of these prevailing hard conditions of existence, life in this region is a permanent fight for survival. Slowly, the sun sets. A breathtaking redness spreads over the desert. With its poisonous sting pointing menacingly towards the sky and its pincers ready to attack, the emperor scorpion, Pandinus imperator, leaves its hideout in search of prey. Scorpions have played an important role in our cultural history for thousands of years. Legends and myths have grown up around these nocturnal robbers, being portrayed as dangerous, death-bringing beings. They were mentioned as long ago as in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh is one of the first literary records in the history of the human race. In one of these narratives, Gilgamesh fights against a scorpion being whose upper part of the body is in the shape of a man, crowning the limbs of a scorpion. These beings barred Gilgamesh's way onto Mount Masawa because here they guarded the rising and setting of the sun, and the hero was only able to get past them by way of cunning. Even today, fear creeps over us when a scorpion leaves its lair and our paths coincidentally cross. Life only returns when the sun slowly rises above the mountain peaks and the icy coldness is softened by the warming rays. The sun glares down on the hot ground of the desert, its stones, sand and coarse grass. The air is dry, but life also exists in this barren part of the world. The bizarre Joshua trees are hundreds of years old. They are to be seen standing everywhere, along the roads or in small woods and forests high up in the rocky precipices. They offer shelter for the desert dwellers. A tiny desert mouse at the far end of its nest is busy building in the shade. Reptiles are the only creatures that take a sunbath on the hot stones in the daytime. The queen of the reptiles, the feared and respected rattlesnake, remains hidden from the relentless sun in its stony hiding place. If the mouse gets too close, then the snake begins to rattle and shows itself to its prey. Then there is no mercy. Buzzards keep a sharp eye open, high up in the sky. The snake stands erect, opens its pink mouth and strikes mercilessly. The Joshua tree, which got its name from the Mormons, cannot with its prophet's arms rescue the mouse either. The mouse is paralyzed by poison. The mouse prolongs the life of the snake whilst giving up its own. In this way, the balance of nature is preserved. Dark silhouettes of trees appear on the horizon. The last sun rays flood the cactus in a golden light. The white thorns of the cactus glisten, appearing geometrically as if in a kaleidoscope. They rearrange themselves when the angle of sight rotates. The colors illuminate similar to a prism in the shadow games of the sinking sun. Rain clouds are driven on by the wind, which later empty themselves over dry land. They have the power, with the help of the sun, to revive life to the apparently dry seeds that are in the ground. A seedling shoots upwards towards the light, bravely attempting to secure a place for itself. Initially, tender shoots grow upwards, becoming stronger and stronger, and during its life cycle, the once dry seed evolves into a sturdy plant. Undercranking photographic technology, also called accelerated motion, enables us to show processes that occur in nature over a long period of time. The time is compressed, and a period of several days appears as a few moments of film images. The color palette with which nature paints the blossoms of our plants seems infinite. Intense colors interchanging with pale hues. Serrated with gentle shapes, the variations are endless. No species on our planet is more numerically represented than the insects. More than 1 million types are known to us. However, it is estimated that a further 1 million living kinds are to be found hidden in the depths of the rainforests. The head, with its eating utensils, antennae, and compound eyes, is a miracle of nature. The head is equipped with a 360-degree all-round range of visibility, plus movement and sonic detectors. Only in this way have the insects at the bottom of the food chain a chance of survival. Insects have adapted themselves to almost every habitat, from the Antarctic to the foothills of the Himalayas, from the deserts to the humid jungles. Unfortunately, humans often regard them with disgust and aversion, but it is their simplicity which makes them superior. In some countries, locusts and crickets are regarded as delicacies. We only treat a few kinds of insects with respect. The first beehives, for example, were developed over 7,000 years ago in order to produce honey. Dancing on flower petals, the insects gather pollen which is later released on other plants. A slug slowly crawls over a mushroom on its bed of slime. Its heart and alimentary canal, with a slight magnification, can be clearly seen. If observers take a little time to watch more carefully how an insect sucks nectar from a chalice, they will be surprised at how elegantly this is done. While delicately holding its feet securely in position, the insect concentrates on working with its proboscis. In the world of insects, the most highly developed creatures are the ants. They live in complex social communities, comparable with a sovereign state. The ant colony is ruled by a single queen, which after her wedding flight, settles in a suitable place to start her colony. Female worker ants do everything they can to defend their queen and mother and to ensure that their colony is protected from enemies. Each ant is allotted a certain task which is carried out dutifully. However, the procurement of food is of the highest priority. If an ant finds a new source of food, it conveys this to fellow ants by way of certain head and body movements. This information is transmitted to the colony, and a small army of ants is sent out to bring the food back to the settlement. An ant colony can exist for up to 18 years, until a queen ant breaks out to start a new realm. Chapter 3. Between Heaven and Earth. Human beings regarded the eagle as the phoenix, who at the end of its life fell to ashes and from which it was reborn. It is therefore hardly surprising that man bestowed divine powers upon them and treated them as messengers of the gods. According to their imagination, they lived in the stars and also took souls into the heavens above. Even today, these birds have lost none of their fascination. Eyes gaze upwards when their cries are heard, and people remain standing to watch them, circling in the skies. Birds of prey, the sublime kings of the air, ascend and circle in the azure skies with almost no beat of the wings, until their eyes, technical masterpieces of nature, spot a target on the ground. They rush towards the ground in a breathtaking nosedive, like a flash of lightning, until just before reaching the earth, they spread their powerful wings and glide skywards once more. The laughter of a seagull can be heard from a long distance, and sailors of the past, when they heard them, knew that they were not far from land. They appear to be playing without effort on the wind, swinging up and down, gliding to and fro in a constant search for food. Mighty dark clouds pushed on by the wind, relentlessly changing their shapes. They are high in the sky and unreachable, sometimes close at hand, but never touchable. sullen clouds build up at the mountains and rise in cold regions. They pour down over mountains, valleys, forests and meadows. Drop for drop, the rain is dispersed over foliage. Life-giving water moistens the ground. Small lakes are filled when the raindrops continually burst on the Earth's surface. Deep in the live forest, hidden, there are wild wolves. The pack moves unseen through the undergrowth. They are powerful, cunning, and loyal. Their howls can be heard everywhere. These kings of the forest are feared. They move on and disappear into the darkness. The raccoon climbs briskly to the top of a tree, constantly searching for food. Anything edible is acceptable for this shrewd animal. The raccoon, by way of his figure, looks like a little thief, and he also takes whatever he can get. Spruce trees are tall and dark, straight or crooked, but always proudly pointing to the sky. Between the spruce trees are mountain ash and birch trees, berry bushes and grass. This place of rugged cliffs, wild and untamed, with swirling mist above, is truly a mythical spot. Water flows downwards into the stream beds, rushing and bubbling over stones, mosses, wood and ferns. Sometimes the water is powerful, sometimes gently flowing, but always crystal clear. Ice is the cold enemy of life. What is the secret? When we see ice, we involuntarily think of coldness. Even our vocabulary in regard to ice is very limited. We only have a few expressions for ice. The Inuit, in contrast, have 40 words for snow alone. Consequently, there must be more to it than just frozen water. In the Arctic regions, crisscrossed with ice deserts, survival for man seems impossible. The people who have been living there for thousands of years call themselves Inuit. Their native Indian neighbors gave them the name of raw meat eaters, Eskimos. The Inuit, in a permanent fight against the elements, live from seal hunting and fishing. The irregularity of water is a mystery. Its highest density is achieved at 4 degrees Celsius, and if the temperature drops lower, the density is further reduced and slowly turns from a liquid to a solid condition and begins to freeze. Ice with a finely structured surface develops, within which light in diverse shades of blue breaks out. The warmth of the day causes the upper surface to melt, whereby the ensuing water flowing over the ice continually polishes the upper layer lying directly beneath. A dull icicle is transformed into a shiny, reflective object, changing its shape many times throughout the course of the winter, until finally it is reverted back to water and the whole procedure can begin from new again. The countryside is shrouded in mist. The meeting place is a waterhole. The animals of Africa for a short time live peacefully as one, drinking from the life-giving water. The lively zebras and tall giraffes, with their unusual skin markings, each of them as unique as a fingerprint. The herd of elephants moves majestically through the savannah. They walk silently, slowly, and unhurriedly. In the middle of the yellow haze, their mighty statures rise. Its sturdy trunk is constantly on the move. This organ is not only there to breathe, it is also a highly sensitive tool for foraging and gently gathering plants and roots. With the white gold of its tusks, the huge grey giant churns the earth for minerals and salts. Chapter 4: Cradle of Humanity. This is the cradle of humanity. The first steps to walk the world were taken here. Today, in this continent, their descendants are fighting hard to survive. What is life? What is the purpose? First there was stone created from gases, then water, single-cell beings, plants, animals, and finally man. Man who has continually put himself and the world into a state of change. An observation of our existence in the 21st century can look back on many achievements. We have sailed the world seas and discovered foreign countries, studied the flora and fauna, measured, catalogued, and observed them. With the help of physics and chemistry, we have brought our world up to a high technical level. Our planet alone no longer suffices for research. We are venturing a step into the universe. Unfortunately, there is also a negative side to the coin. Many plants and animals have become extinct. Zoos and gardens are no longer purely there for pleasant observation. They have been transformed into modern Noah's Arks. Plant species are being reproduced so that they are not forgotten forever, while some animals only have a survival perspective in captivity. What about the humans themselves? We have forced our religions upon unknown countries and peoples with violence and arrogance. We have imposed our civilization and our worldview on them and destroyed their culture and their way of thinking. And that is not enough. Again and again, different nations and people are overthrown, oppressed, murdered, and genocide is committed, almost total annihilation. Our lifestyle, whether it is complex or simple, Chapter 5. From the Cities to the Stars. Metropolises. These melting pots of culture, skin colors, religions, and differing views of life have become, for present-day people, the main centers of community life. Today, nearly half of the human race lives in a large city. They radiate an inexplicable attraction, and we are drawn to them like moths to a light. Paris, the city of romance, of fashion, and of indulgence, overflowing with a temperament and beauty. You show yourself as secretive and elegant, but also being frivolous, and kiss the muse. The individual character of a person has an effect on their daily lives, artificially or in harmony with nature. We brave the elements with the means at our disposal. High up in the skies with its towers and skyscrapers, every corner of this world has become fast and easily accessible by aeroplanes above the clouds. The automobile has become an irreplaceable means of transport. In our civilization, humans survive by utilizing their constantly developing technologies. Because of this, we believe that we can dominate the world. Cairo. Desert sand and car fumes shroud the old city on the Nile, but the minarets rise proudly above this veil. In the bazaar, there is a hub of activity, whereby you can find a place to drink a glass of tea in tranquility until the call of the muezzin beckons. New York, the Big Apple, its buildings rising higher and higher in the skies, but also more illustrious. Below on the streets, people are moving like ants, with yellow taxis in a river of speed.
Taxi!
Taxi!
Los Angeles, sung by Jim Morrison in L.A. Woman, a city made of celluloid, the American birthplace of films. You create illusions and idols, the greatest stage on earth. There is a unique rhythm that strikes on the streets and along the freeways. Fame and despair live side by side here. Dreams and hopes.
And the Oscar goes to...
The road to the Oscars is public.
Forrest Whitaker in the last
Once told her success would not be until her late. Spotted entire generations of rapper rag, get strapped, represent
time. Nature's course of time runs regularly. In the city, time has become a necessity. Fast, 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 constantly pulsing, always in time. It is the lights of the city that impress us today, and it always has. Flashing, flickering, white, yellow and red. Pictures, placards, people. Budapest. 1.7 million people live in Budapest, making it one of the 8th largest capitals in Europe. Long ago, it was recognized that the vibrancy of the city would sooner or later lead to its collapse. People must be able to move easily around the city in order to keep the metropolis alive. The first metro was put into operation in 1896, and today the 2,000-kilometre rail network forms the nucleus of the local transport system in order to transport 3.5 million passengers daily. Only in this way is transportation in a modern city possible. Immortal witnesses of old metropolises or quietness in prayer. The individual character of people has an effect on their daily lives. Artificially or in harmony with nature, they brave the elements with the means at their disposal. Berlin. Oppressed, divided and reunited. Berlin, which has often been restructured, is now growing into a dazzling metropolis, without losing its Berliner charm.
Of the failures of the communist system, for all the world to see, we take no satisfaction in it, for it is, as your mayor has said, an offense not only against history, but an offense against humanity, separating families, dividing husbands and wives and brothers and sisters, and dividing a people who wish to be joined together.
Und wenn auch nur einer versklavt ist, dann sind nicht alle frei. Aber wenn der Tag gekommen
London, a city of cultures, modern, rebellious and militant, nobly holding on to its old traditions. The art of technology, transporting iron ore from the mountains and processing it into hard steel. Shining coolly, it is molded into smooth, round masses. Neon lights reflect in glistening paint. Onwards, it continues intact. The consistent running of the machines as they continue their work is fascinating. A masterpiece of technology, created and controlled by man. Concisely running sequences, aesthetic splendidness.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Sparks fly and hover, resembling fireworks above the cold metal.
MA6 vehicle has lifted off. Trajectory looks good. MA6 vehicle is also on track. It's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind. More to go.
It looks good. It's a beautiful launch. Everything is go. It looks good so far. Rising into the clear blue Florida sky. There's not a cloud in the sky as we follow it all the way up. Orange flame.
Unless we rediscover the respect for nature, other elements will gain dominance and annihilate man from this planet. Earth will end where it once began. Technological progress continues as part of this world, because ultimately it is the entirety of nature that governs the course of the world.